more often than we'd like to admit, we act against our own interests. Just looking at your current day or week, how many times have you chosen to engage in some activity at your own expense, knowing it's not what you should be doing? You may even be doing it right now by reading this. Maybe that's not you. You might be thinking, nope, not me. I'm as logical and rational as they come. That might be true, but you are still human and subject to human impulses. Consider the following. You've been texting or chatting with someone that you're romantically interested in. Things appear to be going well. In fact, you've made jokes about visiting Europe together in the summer. However, suddenly, they disappear from sight and, for all intents and purposes, go radio silent on you. Do you rationally and logically conclude that they've lost interest and immediately move on? Or do you flail about, wondering if they got hit by a hurricane that prevented them from replying to you? Does something about your love interest being relatively unavailable trigger some instinct in you that makes you reach out and desire more? Might you be tempted to carry out impulsive, objectively unstable actions to settle your uncertainty? Let's take it one step further. You see a homeless adult begging on the sidewalk. You might be able to look past this depending on how accustomed you are to such sights. You might even be able to ignore it completely. Now, replace that adult with two children, both blind. They're crying for their mother, who they claim was taken from them, leaving them to fend for themselves. To boot, they have a tiny kitten with them, who's meowing loudly out of hunger. It's quite a heart-wrenching scene. Do your feelings change based on the emotions that such a scene evokes? Do you feel some sort of natural impulse to ease this group's suffering based on sympathy or pity? In both of these circumstances, you probably made up your mind at first and then flipped the opposite way once your emotions were put into play. These are the small ways in which we're pushed and pulled in our daily lives. For lack of a better term, we can refer to them as psychological triggers, things that tug on our heartstrings and other instincts and demand action. They create impulses in us to act immediately and often in irrational ways. They're the all-too-human tendencies of leaping before looking, and they've been bred into us for thousands of years. More often than not, and certainly more often than we would like to admit, they dictate our actions. You may not think much of them, but once you begin to realize just how widespread and common psychological triggers really are in your life, you may even begin to question whether or not you have a free will.